I'm so thrilled to have Fergus here because he is also not used to having an audience right in front of him. He's used to sitting just behind the microphone with a virtual audience for his podcast. So it's great to have him here, and hopefully many of you have heard his podcast, the On Strategy Showcase. He has interviewed hundreds of marketers and strategists, and I think it gives you a real insight in understanding what makes strategists really tick, what makes them special in understanding insights, strategic approaches. So can you share, what are the top 3 criteria that you believe every strategist must possess, and how can they strengthen those skills?
So first of all, I'm terrified because I'm never in front of this many people. Not since I last worked in an agency, so forgive me if I stumble over a bunch of stuff. Hey, so I see a lot of familiar faces, so thank you for coming out. The show is a real joy to do. It's probably been the most fulfilling part of my career, and we learn a lot from strategists, but I think when you look at the theme, usually I have a different mic, I think when you look at the theme for today, and the idea that we're to a very strong degree, we're trying to elevate relationships, and we need to have a common language for relationships. I think the thing that's most important is we have to, and it may not be that the people in this room are affected by this, but I think we have to do a better job of being stewards of better work. You know, there's good work done. There was great work, I assume, celebrated last night. And you guys may all be doing great work, but we're not doing a good enough job as a practice to elevate work overall. I think when you look at the percentage of work that is being sort of categorized as average, then that's a really bad thing. And we have a lot of pressures on us, and it's an awful lot of wasted money if we're trying to make the case to senior C-suite people that we can deliver on our promise, yet 65% or more of what they're seeing in the world is pretty shitty stuff. So I think, number one, we've got to sort of figure that out. How do we make that case? Because we've always been saying, we need to spend more. You need to give us more budget. We can't achieve it based upon what is happening. But I think if you look at the most recent work from Adam Morgan, Peter Field, and System 1, there's this really keen interest in kind of flipping that script and saying that great work costs less. If you want to do average work, you'll have to spend more in order to achieve the same level of share of voice, the same level of breakthrough. So advertising can become something that good creative advertising and marketing can be something that saves you money rather than something that costs you money. So it's about saving rather than, and investment rather than cost. And I think that work is going to be coming out. It's already been promoted. I hope many of you have seen it. It's pretty brilliant stuff. So I think that the one thing that average planners can do is begin to elevate their game and elevate the game of creativity. And I know that even for great strategists, it's tough to do because the headwinds are against us. I'm not a great strategist, by the way. I'm a pretty shitty strategist. But for great strategists, it's tough. You've got tons of pressures and tons of expectations. But we've got to do something better as an industry to elevate that overall. So that would be one thing.
So what do you think strategists can do to really strengthen their skills and really elevate the need to deliver on these expectations that keep evolving to make sure they're not doing, as you would say, shitty work?
Yeah, and I think the number one thing is, my opinion is that we're not doing enough of it. We're not talking to each other enough. There's a sense that many of us feel that we're solo gladiators out there trying to sort of do the noble thing. But I think what the show has shown me is that there are tens of thousands of planners around the world, and we're not connecting with them. We're not connecting with each other. We try to do that with the show. On our website, you can go, and for every show, and we've done about 250 shows, for every show we've done, you can actually connect with the planner. And planners love to talk to other planners, not just at events, but you can call people up who are doing great work in other markets around the world and have a conversation. They love to talk. And so people that are successfully doing what you want to do, you can just do the most simple thing, which is to talk to them.
I think that just taps right into the theme of how do we have this common language, how do we connect, how do we have understanding. Please take advantage of that during networking. You're all strategists. You should all be connecting with one another. But I do want to kind of pick up on that theme because it's important to understand how do we make sure we are producing the very best work beyond just talking to one another and connecting that common language?
Well, I think we've got to be able to truly reflect the customer. I know that sounds like a cliche, but I still don't think we do enough of it. And I think there's a danger that's happening now, and I think it's a danger to our integrity as a practice that we're beginning to use too many proxies as a replacement for true firsthand knowledge. When I was coming up, we did research. We actually went out and talked to people. And I think what we're seeing now, which is wonderful, there's a phenomenal benefit to it, which is being able to use AI and being able to use reports, trend reports and stuff like that. And that can get you ramped up to speed. But that is not true understanding. That is not bringing truths or understanding, truthful understanding to life in an interesting way. You're not experiencing it. And I know I beat this to death on the show. I hear it from great people. I hear it from great clients. Clients, I think, are increasingly becoming okay with qualitative unlocks. It wasn't that way for a while. Everything had to be quantified. But you look at great clients who are doing great work, like McDonald's, for example. If you talk to Tass Desopoulos at Wyden, that whole thing was built on qualitative observation. And that, I think, fueled that planning team for years. It still does today. And once you're able to take those observations and make them into great work, then I think you've got an on-ramp for the next number of years of getting a client who now is investing in great human truths, no matter how they're uncovered, and then is investing and then believing in the fact that not everything has to be massively data-driven, that it can be balanced. And that the role of the planner is to discover those human truths and make them interesting. I mean, that's it for us. Everything else is sort of window dressing to me, in a way.
Yeah, I agree with that. So, there's the age-old argument of brand versus performance, or as more appropriately, we should say brand and performance marketing. And just want to understand, how should people think about this topic as strategists and advisors to their clients when this debate just seems to be ongoing?
I mean, I'm inspired by the Martin Agency all the time because this question comes up. And there's a great body of work that primarily has come out of the UK about the distinction between brand and performance and the need to have a better balance. Les Bonnet, et cetera, Warwick, and others who are a great part of building this. I think great ideas should do both. And I look at the Martin Agency with Geico. I look at the entire insurance category, and I think a great idea can perform and brand at the same time. There are certainly certain situations, if you're in display or you're in paid social, where you're more limited in what you can do, and it tends to be more of a performance-driven. But I don't fully buy into the fact that you have to be in one camp or the other. I think you can do both, and I feel that. That there are great people like James Herman, who's written a great book, I hope all of you have read it, called Future Demand. And he splits it up as existing demand and future demand. And I think that's very true for startups. It's a little more difficult with established, mature brands. What do you do? Do you do performance marketing only, as many startups do in the initial years, and then evolve into brand marketing? I don't know. That's still a question in my mind. But I absolutely think that further driving a gap between performance marketing and brand marketing isn't helping anybody. They can be done together, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I'll get back to what Elizabeth mentioned earlier, which is growth. You still have to deliver on that client's objective of growth and being able to speak that language and communicate that effectively.
Yeah, I would rather go to the client and say, do great work because it'll cost you less than say than enter into a lingo conversation that we're having as an industry, which is brand versus performance. I think we're complicating it. I may be wrong. I see Warwick is here today. Maybe there's our former Warwick is here today. But maybe I'm wrong. But that's just my observation.
Yeah, I understand that. All right, so Fergus, I'd like you to talk about this event you have coming up, and tell everyone how they can participate and be part of it and continue to strengthen their skills as strategists.
So I think we've like many people, and I mentioned starting out here, I'm not very comfortable on stage, but I've also got to get the hell out of the house, the home studio. So following the lead of many other people who produce shows, I've taken the show on the road. So I don't sell books, I don't sell decks, I don't sell courses, I don't sell consulting services. I rely on our sponsors, and so we've got to get out there and building our audience. So we started in Dublin, Ireland in May with the show at Guinness headquarters. We were in London last week with 4 of chief strategy officers from London. Martin Beverley from Adam and Eve. We had Martin Weigel from the AMV. Lucy Jameson was there, also the founder of Uncommon. So we're now coming to New York. October 17th, we're recording the show live at Wieden and Kennedy, their offices here in New York City. And I got to read the people here because I'm still sort of surprised we got all these brilliant people. On the panel this time, the topic is going to be the future of ideas. So it is Johnny Bauer, Fundamental Co., former Blackstone, and Droga 5 Chief Strategy Officer. We have, which is a big win here, we have Chris Hersford-Hill, who's Global Chief Creative Officer of BBDO. We have Lauren Rowan, who's Chief Strategy Officer at Wieden and Kennedy. And then lastly, we have Marcus Gartrell, who's Co-Chief Creative Officer at Wieden, and he heads up all of the, I believe he heads up all of the McDonald's work. If you go to our website, onstrategyshowcase.com, under the Live Tour tab, if you put in the promo code StratFest, you'll get a significant discount. It's only like $25, so it's not that expensive. But it's 6 to 8 p.m. on that night. It's going to be a great conversation, and you can also sneak, if you haven't already, you can sneak around Wieden and Kennedy's offices. So it would be brilliant to see all of you there, or at least a large part of you.
All right, last question, very quickly. I was having a conversation with Ewan Larkin from Ad Age, who is here somewhere, about the focus this year seems to be back on strategy, and that agencies are almost doubling down on strategy. Do you see that, and why do you think that's happening?
God, I don't see that. I kind of think the opposite. I think that we're trying to stretch everybody to brutal ends, and I think we're all waiting for the tide to come in on AI to see who still has a job. And I hope the reality is that we can use it as a tool, not as anything else to replace.
I actually will disagree with you, because I actually believe that strategy is the great differentiator, because if everyone has the same tool, it's going to be a sea of sameness. So we need strategists and creativity to bring that to life.
Totally agree.
So I'm going to be the forever optimist.
Okay. I'm optimistic too. I know we can do brilliant things. And organizations like Forays and this whole event are proof of it. We need more of this.
Well, thank you so much for being here and sharing your wisdom. We really appreciate it. And I hope everyone has a great day. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.